I have here a rather large book, a facsimile edition of Robert Burns' Commonplace Book. And this was written before he was a famous poet. He was still living on the family farm. So this was written in June of 1785. He was 26 years old and his father had died 4 months before. Here's the entry. And it says, John Barley corn to its own tune, a song to its own tune. I once heard the old song that goes by this name sung, and being very fond of it, and remembering only 2 or 3 verses of it, viz. The first, second, and third, with some scraps which I have interwoven here and there in the following piece. So we have 3 versions of this from Burns, and this is the earliest. I recorded the second one for YouTube. I posted it years ago now. And I took another look at this one, and I think it is the best. Here we go. There was 3 kings into the east, 3 kings both great and high, and they have sworn a solemn oath that John Barley corn should die. They took a plough and ploughed him down, put clods upon his head, and they have sworn a solemn oath that John Barley corn was dead. The springtime it came on, and showers began to fall. John Barley corn got up again, and sore surprised them all. The summer it came on, and he grew thick and strong, his head well armed with pointed spears, that no one should him wrong. The autumn it came on, and he grew wan and pale, his bending joints and drooping head showed he began to fail. His color sickened more and more, he faded into age, and then his enemies began to show their deadly rage. They took a hook was long and sharp, and cut him down at knee. They tied him fast upon a cart, like a rogue for forgery. They laid him down upon his back, and cudgeled him full sore. They hung him up before the storm, and turned him o'er and o'er. They filled up a darksome pit, with water to the brim. They've heaved in John Barley corn, there let him sink or swim. They've thrown him out upon the floor, to work him farther woe, And still, as signs of life appeared, they tossed him to and fro. They wasted o'er a scorching flame the marrow of his bones, but the miller used him worst of all, for he ground him between two stones. Then they had ta'en his very heart's blood, and drank it round and round, and still the more and more they drank, their joy did more abound. John Barleycorn was a hero bold, of noble enterprise. For if you do but taste his blood, 'twill make his courage rise. 'Twill make a man forget his woe, and heighten all his joy. 'Twill make the widow's heart to sing, though the tear were in her eye. That's the tune, Death and Resurrection. You can't hold him down. He comes up again. The end of every cadence. Beautiful work. So what's different about this one is the sort of primal way. The springtime it came on, the summer it came on, the winter, autumn it came on, and the other version I did, it was the autumn came with freshening breeze. You know, the summer came with sultry heat. The springtime came with kindly warmth. It's more written, but there's a raw power to the repetition here that I find striking. And the other versions tack on a last four lines for which we don't have the A part, so I would hum through it, and it's kind of like it's like an advertisement. Then let us toast John Barleycorn, each one a glass in hand, and may his great posterity ne'er fail in old Scotland. Well, okay, it's not bad, but it's really beautiful. I think ending with the widow and the tear. Heart to sing, though the tear were in her eye. That's resurrection right there. So the other one I sang, the other ones have crushed him between two stones instead of ground him between two stones. But the most striking thing, and the reason I had to do the song again, the other ones say, John Barleycorn was a hero bold, of noble enterprise. And if you do but taste his blood, 'twill make your courage rise, 'twill make a man forget his woe, and so on. This says 'twill make his courage rise. If you do but taste his blood, 'twill make his courage rise, 'twill make a man forget his woe. So John Barleycorn is active. He's alive. He's a presence. And I just think that's beautiful, transcendent thing. And here's the deal why I didn't see this earlier. Because I just read the academic introduction here, written in 1938 by J.C. Ewing. And he was saying that Burns had made a condensed version of his book for his friend Robert Riddell 8 years later. And that he had crossed out some words and in a later hand, like this was graphoanalysis. And so I thought, well, that's interesting because I liked the word he crossed out in Man Was Made to Mourn. I like insolence and scorn better than cruelty or scorn. I just liked it better in that song. And then I was looking at John Barleycorn again, just because I felt like I should look at it again, because I got to look at everything again, because you can't see everything all at once. You got to keep going around the track. It's the same track, but you see different stuff. So Burns crossed out his and wrote your over it. Well, I hadn't even read his before. And now I was like, oh, the early version. Basically, I was at this for 3 or 4 years probably before I realized that Burns's early drafts, it's very hard to find a published version that is good as his early draft. Uh, and the more times he copied a lyric, usually the worse they got. Um, the great stuff came from this kind of initial state of trance, of inspiration, of which he once said in a letter, and he said, I am in song. And that's what you just heard. That was Robert Burns in song. And when he starts overthinking and trying to make things more poetic, he messes up the poetry. So, that's what I think. This tune was traditionally sung, and I found that out from a book from England from 1850. It was published in the Old Dancing Masters back to 1670. The tune is called Stingo, or Strong Beer. That's what it means, or the oil of barley. And this guy named James Dick, who was a real crank. I mean, he published Burns songs to the original tunes to which they were written in 1904. Well, what he did was select a representative sample of Scott's tunes from the beginning of the 18th century, even at the expense of the verses. He put that in his introduction. He didn't matter how it went with the verses. He was interested in publishing tunes he liked. So he'll publish stuff from a manuscript, a tune from a manuscript that Burns never saw, and so on. In this case, he picked a tune called "Lull Me Beyond Thee," which was set in some theater show in London to the murder of John Barley, little John Barleycorn. It's this kind of it's kind of like Greensleeves. It's got that sharp note in it. And it's just, nobody sings Burns as John Barleycorn because that tune is just so boring. It goes on for 15 verses. I'm dropping my thumb pick. But the one I sing, it's got this hypnotic roll and this death and resurrection theme inside it. So there's a guy named Robert Bell published a book of songs, and he said, this is the tune we sing. So that's a traditional tune. And Mr. Burns, hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to my channel. Take care of yourself.